Namaste. How are you doing? Remember that peace and the happiness are our essential nature. What would happen? Your mind is angry, and at the same time you remember that peace and happiness are my essential nature. What happens? Why you forget that? Why we forget that? The world is not the source of peace and happiness, and my mind says that some situation, some event, some person is responsible for my stress and suffering. Why don't we remember at that moment? Remembering means what? You have to say to your mind, this world outside is not responsible for my stress or suffering or the joy or the pleasure, because happiness is my essential nature. When the mind repeats the thought pertaining to the world outside and it results into this suffering, why should not I say at that moment, why I am not awakened to that knowledge? I forget that knowledge. Why I forget that knowledge? Because I identify myself. I'm still have a lot of expectations from the world. What is that expectation? That the world is going to give me peace and happiness. So that expectations reverses. Why? The world is not the source of peace and happiness. It is something like the sun. Your room is on the your windows are facing to the east early in the morning. You have a blackout curtain, and you wake up at 9 and you see still there is a darkness. So in that darkness you see the sun. Oh, still it is darkness. What is darkness? That is still the ignorance. So that takes the time to raise your level of awareness. That takes little time to to level of awareness. So now, if you understand clearly this metaphor, the sun is always available. That real self is always available. If I cover it with a blackout curtain, and what is that blackout curtain? That blackout curtain is my ignorance. What is that ignorance? What is that ignorance? That ignorance is nothing but we claim our expectation is very high. What is that expectation? That I will get peace and happiness from this person, from this situation, from this condition, from this relation. Not possible at all. It has never been possible. So let us be into the practice with the knowledge, with understanding. Where we put the understanding into the mind. Why we put that understanding into the mind? Because ignorance is there. What is that ignorance? That ignorance is the curtain that superimposes, that covers the sun. It did not cover the sun, but it appears. Sun is still there. Real self is still there. Peace is still there. Happiness is still there. Love is still there. So eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Gently adjust and align the body. Find out the most comfortable position of the body. Are you aware? Yes. Is this the knowledge or a practice? Check it. It is a knowledge. My mind says yes, body is comfortable. My eyes are closed. So, what happens? You experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. You experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So, what the mind starts searching, no, I have to maintain. I have to maintain this. I have to maintain the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. No, you have not to maintain. It is natural, my friend. It is natural. It is natural. It is natural. So, what happens? We continuously know and experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. We are knowing in the very practice, so called the practice we are doing. Now, remember what is our goal? To discover and realize. You say in your mind, my goal is to discover permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Now, where it is located deep inside my mind, deep inside behind the mind. Now, is it located in the world outside? No. Is is the mind the source of happiness? No. So if mind is not the source of happiness, whatever the mind says about the sorrow, joy, pleasure, why you believe it? You believe it, that means it is occurring. Today's practice, so-called the practice is also there, and the knowledge is more. You have to repeat in your mind. You have to think like this. Why you think like this? Because thought is the product of knowledge. Understand, my friend, it's not big deal. What I think I become. So now, in that state of eyes closed and you are comfortable, you are observing, you are watching the unwanted thoughts, feelings, sensations, they rise in the mind, they fall, they come and go. Tell the mind any unwanted thought, feeling, sensation, they enter into the mind to go, not to stay. Your mind may say, no, it is staying because I want them to stay. How? I don't see them, the traffic coming and going. I identify with that thought. So that is why I say, lane number one, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Lane number two, the intellect, you know they are unwanted thoughts and feelings. That very knowing that they are unwanted thoughts, what will happen? You will recognize they do not belong to you. So, what you do? Let them come, let them go. So, what happens? Your mind jumps from the lane one to the lane two. Not only that, because they are unwanted thoughts, they do not belong to me, they are the curtain. What is the result? Result is calmness. You're already calm. That is why you experience that calmness during the practice. So that knowledge you forget during your personal, professional, social, and the family life, and that only the small difference, a little difference, little change in the mind. While living in the world, you put the curtain over the real self. Are you getting it? I believe so. We have done a lot. So again, see that. Look at the body, observing and analyzing. I am not the body. That is the knowledge. Then look at the breath. I am not the breath. Just see what happens to the mind. I am not the body. I am not the breath. You're looking at the breath, and still your mind says, I'm not the breath. And I'm also not the unwanted thoughts and feeling and sensation that rise and fall in the mind. So you are looking deep inside the cave of your heart, and there you are asking, then who am I? Ask yourself, who am I? And stay there. So, according to the masters, I am the real self of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. I am not worthy of suffering. Use these thoughts as a mantra, as in knowledge to remain aware in your daily life. So, to remove that curtain, we can either do purification of the mind, either we can do the breathing, or we can chant the mantra. So let us do the breathing first. Look at but we have to do the breathing with knowledge, breathing with knowledge and understanding. So what is the first breathing? First breathing is a chest breathing with the mantra. What is that mantra? You can say Shantoham. Shantoham means I am the peace. Now pay attention. Your knowledge should be clear. What is that knowledge? You're looking inside the cave of your heart, in the space. You're saying Shantoham. Pause. In that pause, you see the space. After the space, you again plant Shantoham. Again, you have a space. Plant Shantoham. Again, you have a space. Shantoham. Now we add the breathing. You keep on doing Shantoham deep inside the cave of your heart and start breathing, gentle breathing through the rib cage. You inhale through the nostrils, expand the ribs. You exhale through the nostrils and contract, squeeze the ribs. Continue. The mind will object to continuous breathing and Shantuham. Why the mind will object? It wants to create a curtain behind, and that is the problem. So we forget it and then we say, no, 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 no. And stop this. Do nothing now. When you remove the curtain, the sun enters into your room on its own. You need not to invite the sun. Understand, my friend, clearly. You do not invite the sun. The same thing happens. You do not need to invite the real self when the purification of the mind takes place. It is so natural. Why I said so, recognize relaxation, calmness, freshness, more energy. What is the knowledge part? That it is because we removed the wrong notion from the mind, but even by breathing. Oh, there are many practices. Again, look inside the cave of your heart and start Shantuham. Shantuham means I am the peace. You drop Shantuham, and after that, pause. That pauses the space. And then gently again you drop Shantuham, pause. You give a pause means you're not, in fact, that pause is nothing but you recognize the space. What? You recognize the sun ray. One very single ray is piercing through your blackout curtain. That is the pause. That is the space. That what is that? That is the knowledge. What is that knowledge? Any time in your life from today, the moment your mind says you are in stress, you are suffering, you are crazy, you have to use that knowledge. Peace, happiness are my essential nature. That is the ray, my friend. Look inside the cave of your heart. You are saying Shantuham with the pause. And now is the time to do the belly breathing. It's a little longer breath, goes into the belly, expands out, and you breathe out from the belly squeezes. Continue. Your mind will say, you have been doing it. I can use the disclaimer for others. And it is a disclaimer for others, not for you. You have been doing such steps in the past. It's not a big deal. Keep on doing. You will start experiencing a tremendous changes in your sensation. You recognize and accept those sensations and keep on. Continue. Om Shanti, Shantoham also continues, the mantra continues, awareness of the space inside the heart continues, and the sensation, relaxation, stillness in the continues, except the expansion of the valley and the contraction of the valley continues. Knowledge is very important. What is that knowledge? You are aware. Happiness is inside you, not in the mind, not in the world outside. If any thought pertains to the world and the mind enters into your mind, you label them as unwanted thoughts. You have nothing to do with them. And now stop this, do nothing. Just do nothing. So when you are in a state of doing nothing, you are aware. You know what is happening. You experience the freshness, the calmness, the stillness, the tingling, sometimes the numbness, the vision, and the colors. We also recognize the resistance the mind posed during the breathing. What is that resistance? Blackout curtain. Mind does not want to change. The entire journey in the first step is to change the mind. Whatever the situation in the world consists of time, space, object, and relation. Whatever the situation outside, your mind recognizes. What it recognizes? Simply, you tell your mind, nothing outside, not in the mind at least, is responsible for my sorrow, suffering, pleasure. It is within me. Say it 3 times in your mind and live into that state of doing nothing. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. We are using another step to remove that curtain. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. You're also saying in your mind, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Then we apply the knowledge. Because if you don't apply the knowledge, yes, I would say you think, even in meditation. What you are thinking, the meaning. What is the meaning? Let, may there be happiness for all. And now you reflect. What is reflection? You use the meaning, your mind is focused on the meaning. May there be happiness for all, and you want to prove to yourself, to your mind. Everyone is seeking happiness, hence including me. I am also seeking happiness all the time. That proves the happiness is my essential nature. How dare I get upset and react? Tell your mind, I don't trust you. Sarve Sham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. Why? Again, we think and reflect. It is not that you are listening to me what I am saying. In this mantra, you are also saying what I am saying. Oh, so it means may there be peace for all. Everyone is looking, searching the peace in the entire world, all the living species. I also have an urge to be in peace. It means I'm also searching peace and happiness. So, because I'm searching peace, it is my nature. That is why I'm searching peace and happiness. Say, if your nature is stress and anxiety and a reaction, you will not search for the peace because you are settled with your stress, anxiety, and the peace, the stress, anxiety, and the reaction. One is our superficial nature, and other is the essential nature. What is essential nature? Example, sweetness of a sugar. That is essential nature. What is superficial nature? You can find the sugar in the candy, in the ice cream, in the dessert, and lot of in the in lot of stuff. But in every stuff, one thing is common: sweetness. That sweetness of the peace and the happiness is common in all our situation, condition, and relationship. No, that is not. Your mind says. So you say to the mind, it is because of you. Why you are searching peace and happiness outside? And whenever you feel that there is a sense of anxiety and a reaction, why don't you move the mind within and start contemplating with the mantra? Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness in all. We are looking for a sense of completeness. We are suffering from incompleteness. And that incompleteness is because of the delusion. In the state of the delusion, the ego guides. You see, you are reacting, you are suffering. And behind that ego is a big curtain, blackout curtain, that hides the sun, the real self. And then we get upset and react. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Let there be a sense. I am already complete. That real self of the nature of peace and happiness is already complete in itself. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. It means let there be an auspiciousness for all at every auspiciousness at every moment means what? That permanent happiness, that sweetness of a sugar never changes. You put the sugar into a lemon, it becomes, you put the sugar even into the salt, even then the sweetness never changes. That is, means that peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom is always with us. No, no, it is not always with me. Who says mind? What the mind did? It put the curtain. Now, in that state, and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness in the body, and the mind can easily live within. But we are again doing the step with an understanding, with a knowledge. Let us put it that way, you are doing a practice of the knowledge, even though the knowledge is not practice. I'm using a wrong phrase for the right reason. Now look at the breath. Look at the breath. Breath is, breath is deep, silent, and slow. So make your breath a little deeper, not very deep so that you find any uncomfort. Make your breath deep. Second is silent and slow. It is so slow that it is silent. It is silent so that it is deep. Good. Now, as you breathe in, move the mind from the top of the head to the tailbone. And as you breathe out, you move the mind from the tailbone to the top of the head. I told you, remember, deep, silent, and slow. It is not very deep to cause any uncomfort. It is not, it is not fast so that it gives some kind of a noise. So the 2 points are there. Now, while breathing in and out, you have to repeat first. Say in your mind, Sarvesham, Sarvesham, Swastir Bhavatu. And while breathing out, you say, happiness is my essential nature. Breathing in, breathing in, you are reciting the mantra Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. While breathing out, you say, happiness is my essential nature. You see the sync of the mantra, the breath, and the movement of the mind in the spine from the top of the head to the tailbone, from the tailbone to the top of the Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Happiness is my essence. You mentally, you're saying, you non-verbally. No movement of the tongue or the lips, no movement in the body also. The more the body settles into that state of quietness, deeper the state, greater the result. And now we will pick up the next mantra. Next mantra while inhaling Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. You're saying with love, with awareness. And while breathing out, peace is my essential nature. I can see the peace all around, inside, everywhere. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Peace is my essential nature. That infinite space is pervading inside, everywhere, outside. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Deep silence, slow breathing, mind is moving into the spine. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Peace is all everywhere. My essential nature, and it is present everywhere. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham. Peace is my essential. Now, just third mantra. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness. I recognize the completeness in me, hence, no desire, no expectation for peace and happiness from the world outside. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. No expectation for peace and happiness from the world outside because real self is complete in itself, and that is me. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Remember, it's a deep, silent, and slow reading. During inhalation, you are reciting the mantra silent, non verbally, without moving the lips and the tongue. And while exhaling, as the mind is rising, moving up from the spine, I'm adding the symbolic step. Mind is rising means rise in awareness, means the right knowledge, means no delusion, means completeness, means no expectation from the world outside. Wait, I'm in peace and happiness. Keep on, continue. Continue. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Let the knowledge settle into the mind, and then we will see how dear the anxiety, reaction, anger returns in your life. And now, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu during inhalation and during exhalation. You know the meaning. Every moment now is auspiciousness of the nature of peace, happiness, and completeness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarve. Let every moment, I see every moment is auspiciousness of the nature of peace, completeness, and happiness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु. सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु. Now leave the mantra but continue with deep silence, slow breath, mind moving up and down into the spine. In that moment, when you in when you inhale, you drop three shantuham during inhalation with a pause and three shantuham with a pause while exhalation. Shantuham, recognize the pause. Shantuham, recognize the pause. Shantuham, you have reached to the tailbone. That itself is a pause. Then while breathing out, Shantuham, pause. Shantuham, that is the pause. And then what happens? Just keep on. Three times. Shantuham. Three times during inhalation and three times during exhalation. Now two times Shantuham. So there you add emotion. Shantuham. Then a pause. Shantuham. You reach at the tailbone. That itself is a pause while exhaling. Shantuham. Pause. Shantuham. Shantuham. Now leave this step, even leave the deep silence in slow breathing. Allow the breath to return to its normal pattern. Continue to watch the breath going in and out on its own, no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath at this moment. At this moment. Every breath, Shantuham, every breath going in and out. You just drop, non verbally. I'm the peace, I'm the peace. My friend, remember, source of happiness is not the world outside. Once that is firmly settled in your mind, another mind is not the source of the peace and happiness that is firmly settled in your mind. That is the meaning. You have removed the ignorance, you have removed the curtain. What is left? The sun, that real self of the nature of the peace and the happiness will always be available to you. That is the journey of the Eastern Festival. That knowledge gives the strength to the mind. And then the pure mind says, how dare you mind causing me reaction, anxiety, stress, and suffering? How dare you mind running after something in the world seeking peace and happiness, causing the emotional dependence and the duality? Mm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It is good if your mind is totally absorbed. You need not to return from that state. Otherwise, bring the mind on the right hand, mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, and stay there in that state for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Do nothing and let the knowledge work. And if the knowledge works, it's a matter of couple of weeks we discover that. Thank you, my friend.